Hello, everybody. Welcome into your Arkansas Razorback football recruiting report. I'm Evan Camico, joined alongside Otis Kirk. Otis, nice to see you today.
You bet, Evan. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's been another week of football. I think we're 10 days down into training camp, and you've already mentioned, we talked a little bit before this, and this is really a dead period for recruiting. But there's some news from the All-American game that's going to be televised on NBC in January. What do you got on that, Otis?
Yeah. The game comes from San Antonio, and two future Hogs, Charlie Collins, defensive end from Mills, and Courtney Crutchfield, wide receiver from Pine Bluff. We've had both those kids on here. In fact, they came on together after the Sunday after they committed that Friday. Collins has actually been the only recruit that's been on here twice. He helped me out after I got out of the hospital last year and kind of took over. He and Courtney kind of carried me that day. But anyway, yeah, it's an honor to play in that game. It's an East-West game. It's the top. I still think it's the top high school all-star game in America. I mean, it used to be the only one, and then others started doing them. But I still think it's the elite one. And as you said, we've got it right here on NBC. But it'll be it's a fun game. It'll be a chance for people to see what those two kids can do. They're two of the best players in America. I love Crutchfield, love Collins. I just think that, and they're cousins, by the way, and their cousins are going to the same college. They used to be teammates at Pine Bluff, but then Charlie moved to Mills High School. But anyway, yeah, that's an honor for those kids and anybody else that's ever been picked in that game. I remember there's been some other Razorbacks who went on to be kids who went on to be Razorbacks played in that game, but it's an honor. And as I said, I still think it's the top game out there, Evan. It's just, it's the best of the best, man.
Yeah, always fun seeing those games, and especially the jerseys they come out with, all of those like neon green colors. I'm a big fan of those. I don't know if you are, but moving on anyway, Wyatt Simmons a lot. No, not. Don't love those colors.
Oh, I love those. I love that stuff, man. I mean, when they come out there and they do all, you can see the colors. They have the commitments on there. Kids it on there. I think it's fun. I've been there, I don't know, 3 or 4 times maybe through the years for that game. I've been there. It's been a while since I was there, but yeah, I've been down to that game a few times, and I love it. I like I said, I think it's a lead. It's just fun to see that much talent on. I tell you what, I've seen Vince Young. Actually walked off the field with Vince Young at the very first All-Star game they ever had there, Evan. It was actually in Highland Park. I believe it was Highland Park was the first site of the first All-American game. And I walked off the field with Vince, and I was trying to get some Arkansas stuff from him. And all the fans there, of course, in Dallas were going hook 'em horns. He's doing it back. I knew then he probably wasn't going to be a Razorback. But, yeah, Vince Young, I've seen a bunch of good players in that game. But anyway, I'm sorry. You mentioned Wyatt Simmons. Yeah, he's that's the key 2024 kid that we're still, that Arkansas and us reporters are still waiting on to make a decision here. He's up 20-something offers. The latest one this week was Tennessee. This past week, Tennessee offered. Southern Cal offered very recently as well. And I'm talking about elite offers. This kid doesn't have bad – well, I don't know if there is such thing as a bad offer, but what I'm saying, he's got the elite of the elite offering him. Of course, Arkansas is up there. I said last week on here, I predict Arkansas will get him. I still think they will. Don't know if it'll be before the season or if it'll be during the season, whenever. But I do feel pretty good about it. I feel really good about Arkansas's chances with him. He's 6'3", 215 linebacker. He would go in well in that linebacker room. And if they can get White, that will be another in-state kid they kept at home. And that's huge. I mean, I really do. And, people have asked me about, right now, there's just not a whole lot going on recruiting. You mentioned it to lead the show. It's a dead period. The whole month of August is for football recruiting. So there's just the next big things will be when kids start visiting for the football games. They'll host recruits in. That's fun. The kids get to see the Razorbacks play. You get to see the atmosphere. You get to see the crowd. And I think that's big, Evan. I mean, if you can get them on, well, it's big to get a kid on campus. It doesn't guarantee you will get him, but if you don't get a kid on campus, it guarantees you won't get him. And, they're not going to get every kid that visits. We all know that. They never have, never will, but it gives you a chance, especially, with Arkansas. I mean, because everybody that comes here and visits, every kid, it tells me how much different it is versus perception versus reality. Even with the internet now, where people can see Arkansas and see the stuff, they still get here and they're amazed. I used to hear that a lot before the internet. People think everybody's barefoot here, and the stadium's propped up with sticks and stuff. And I'm being exaggerating, but seriously, they didn't have very high feeling about Arkansas before they got here, and they were shocked how nice it is. But even with all the access now you have to seeing things, the recruits are still amazed how nice Arkansas is.
Yeah, and that's a big thing again, and it's keeping those homegrown talents at home. You really want that, because that just shows, a measuring stick for the program. You can get not only the best talent in state, but also go out and recruit some of these 4- and 5-star guys from Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and it's a big measuring stick, I think, for Sam Pittman in this program. And I know that these recruits are all excited to come in, but I'm excited to see Arkansas football too. I'm excited for my first game, which is hopefully going to be in a couple of weeks, to see Razorback Stadium and really how these fans really involve and get hyped up for these games, because it's something that SEC football means more. That's what everybody's telling me. So let's talk about some SEC football, especially with Arkansas fall camp, 10 days in notice. What are your biggest takeaways so far?
Mine right now, I'm gonna say I like how the tight end room is coming along. That was one of the question marks everybody had, was tight end. I think Morgan Turner obviously done a great job there. Dow Loggins left it in good shape. Morgan Turner has taken it and added to it. I liked how Dan Enos uses the tight ends, Evan. He uses the tight ends better than Kendall Briles did. That's in the passing game I'm talking about. It's not a knock on Kendall. It's just a fact. I mean, Dan really likes to use the tight ends. And then you got Morgan Turner. Got Morgan Turner coaching them. I think that gives you a big advantage, because Morgan's as good a tight end coach, if not the best in the country. But I like the court. I love Jacoby Criswell, man.
Mm-hmm.
We all know KJ's the man. I mean, KJ is the man, and he, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But I love, if he gets hurt and they have to bring in Jacoby, I love that, opposed to what they had last year. Offensive tackle, I'm anxious to see the Western Carolina game, then the Kent State game, then the BYU game, to see the progression of those offensive linemen. You've got Bo Limmer back and Brady Latham, but other than that, you've got all new starters there. And I'm anxious to see how those guys come along. They're talented. And the only way you get experience is by playing, man.
Yeah.
Because they haven't played doesn't mean that they're not talented. I hear people say they're going to stink on the offensive line. They don't have anybody that's played. Well, I mean, you can't get experience. Bo Limmer and Brady Latham had to play at one time. They hadn't played, but they played and they did well. I like the talent there.
Yeah, and to your point, Sam Pittman brought up that they didn't see much. I mean, Criswell, to us at least, when we get those 20, 30-minute glimpses of practice, really has a special arm. He's a really special talent transfer, I believe, from UNC. And a big thing with that is, when Pittman was talking to us yesterday, was all about, oh, well, I didn't see much out of KJ or Criswell because of that offensive line, because they didn't give them enough time to throw. But then we heard some of the statistics and numbers from after the games. I think KJ had a 50-yard touchdown, and Criswell had a really impressive 35 or so yard touchdown. And you're seeing this, but it's like, okay, what's the ceiling for this quarterback room, and especially the wide receivers too, and how are they all going to adapt with, Dan Enos and a new system and a running game in a backfield with KJ and Rocket that's so, touted in the entire country, arguably a top 5 backfield in college football right now.
Oh, no doubt. And then, when you're starting running back, your star running back goes down in the first quarter of the bowl game, and Rashad Dubinion and AJ Green both top 100. Okay, AJ had 99 yards. I get he didn't top 100, but he was 1 yard short of 100. And Rashad got offensive MVP. KJ was the overall MVP of the game. And Nudie was the defensive MVP. But no, when you've got 2 running backs sitting over on the bench that can go into a bowl game and get you 100 yards each and don't even start, that's huge. And then Jacoby, I think he throws. Maybe I shouldn't. I think he throws the deep ball better than KJ does. Not that KJ's bad at it, but Jacoby's got a cannon. And then you've got Isaac Teslaw, Andrew Armstrong, Tyrone Broden, Isaiah Satina, and all the other kids. I mean, all the other receivers, Bryce Stevens and Jaden Wilson and stuff. So, yeah, I think the passing game, and as we mentioned earlier, Varkey's Gums, Luke Hayes, Shamar Easter, Nathan Bax, Ty Washington. I knew I was leaving one out there. I really like him at tight end. He caught that touchdown pass in the bowl game. But yeah, you're going to love the atmosphere and stuff at the games, Evan. I'm anxious for you to get there and watch this because it's going to be that BYU game. If I'm not mistaken, is a night game. That place will be rocking that night. You'll enjoy that, and hopefully Arkansas can sweep through this non-conference schedule. What I've said about the schedule is Arkansas needs to win the 7 home games. I think they'll lose to Alabama and LSU, but then if you win your 7 home games, then you've got 3 swing games, A&M, Ole Miss, and Florida. Those are the games that could determine if you take care of home and you got 7 wins. If you win one of those other 3, you've got 8, 2 makes 9, 3 be 10. I think win your home games and winning some of those 3 swing games. And people will argue those are not swing games. Those teams are favored. They'll be favored, but I think Arkansas can win some of those games, and so we'll see how it works out. But I think that to determine, do they have a good season, great season? What kind of season, what kind of record do they have, will be determined by the home record and those 3 swing games.
Yeah,
if you beat LSU or Alabama, then so be it. You beat them, but I'm not predicting that because you're going to. But that's why you play the game. You can always win, but I'm just saying, if you take care of business at home, you've got a good start on this schedule.
Otis, you know what they say, any given Saturday, anything can happen. That's the fun of college football, and especially with an Ole Miss game and an A&M game. That you were saying, those teams in the coaches poll were 22 and 25. Arkansas on that poll was 35. You're not so far behind, and again, it's tough to tell when you lost so much of that skill position room and the wide receivers and tight ends what KJ Jefferson's going to have if he stays healthy, but those are going to be good games, and like I said, Otis, any given Saturday. Anything else before we go?
Well, they found ways. Alabama has beaten Arkansas for the most part through the years. They've beaten Arkansas. Arkansas has found ways to lose to A&M, and they just seem like they find ways. You got to find a way to win that game. But no, I feel good about this team. I thought it was interesting that Scott Fountain. I don't think we've said this was the best team since he's been here. He's been here each year at Sam has. This will be Scott's 4th year, and he was talking about the team, not just special teams. So I feel good about this team, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Evan, I'm ready for the games, not practice, but we still got 2 more weeks, I believe, of practice, 2.5 weeks of practice. So we'll see, but it should be a fun year if everything goes like we think it could.
Absolutely. 2 scrimmages, one next Saturday, the following Saturday, and then September 2nd opening game in Little Rock against Western Carolina. That's going to do it for your Hogs football recruiting report. That's Otis Kirk. I'm Evan Kamiko. We'll see you next week.